We're going to call to order at 7:07, and we do have a quorum right now. And 2 members should be on their way, possibly, so we'll keep an eye out for them. Otherwise, we will go on to number 3, items of community interest. The city offices and the Hazlet Public Library will be closed on Monday, July 5th, in observance of the Independence Day holiday. The Carter Blood Care is having a blood mobile unit on Friday, June the 18th from 12 to 4 p.m. at the Hazlet Library. And then we will discuss, consider an act to approve the minutes from the May 12th meeting.
I read them at home, so this is Barbara Long. I move that we accept the minutes as written.
And this is Cindy. I second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. And we will see who is in favor of that. Matt?
Approved.
Chris?
Approved.
I agree. Approve. Brian?
Approve.
I have to ask Cindy and Barbara again. Cindy? Sure, Cindy.
Approved.
Approved.
Accepted. And then we will look at the financial statement for 2021 of May and the financial report. Not sure how those are exactly different. Let's see. Is there anything that needs to be noted? I don't feel like we've had any exchange of anything.
I'd like to make a motion that the financial report is accepted.
I'll second.
Brian second. So Cindy motion, Brian second. Barbara?
Yes.
I also agree. Chris?
Agree.
And Matt?
Agree.
Financial statement is approved. We have to address the July 14th meeting date. Due to some unavailability of the meeting room, it needs to be rescheduled.
I'd like to suggest that we do it on the 7th.
Do we know about the availability? And then what about the 12th? So 7 and 15. So I guess we'll just. I think, is everyone okay if we vote on 7 and 15 and just kind of roll with it? Okay, I'm just going to go down. Is the 15th in the running? Okay, so I'm going to ask you if you guys will all just give me a vote on whether you prefer the 7th or the 15th. I'll just write it down and we'll see which one wins. How's that?
Before you make a decision, I have a feeling that it's a possibility that the budget discussions could go over. So I would hate to have to change it again.
This is Barbara. I vote for the 7th.
This is Cindy. I agree.
This is Brian. I also agree. This is Chris. I also agree. I agree.
All right, well, we'll just move it to the 7th.
All right, I move, this is Barbara. I move that we hold our July meeting on July 7th.
This is Cindy. I second.
Brian, do you agree?
I agree. I agree. Agree.
All are in agreement. We will move next month's meeting to July the 7th in the community center at 7 o'clock. Can we move it earlier? Can we make it 6, or do we have to leave it 7?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Okay,
sometimes
we're
I'm
just
not
gonna
home
leave it
by
at 7.
6.
Forget it, forget it. All right, so moving on to number 7, the Easter egg hunt has been canceled, Wild West Fest canceled. Memorial Day celebration was presented via a virtual video, and it was actually quite nice. I don't know if anyone got a chance to watch it, but Cindy worked pretty hard on that. It was real nice. And then a community member's dad sent in another video that I tacked onto the Facebook page of him playing tap in the garden, which I also thought was a nice addition to add to that as well, to go with our video. So I made it available. I don't know if y'all know that there's a Hazlet Park website on the Facebook network. So if anyone else is listening to this at home and you'd like to see those videos, check out and like our Facebook page. All right, Moving the Park is scheduled for September 17th. There's a flyer here in the packet. It is going to be serving meals from 8 p.m. to 9:30. We have the In-N-Out truck coming, and they have a community service where they provide free burgers to those that show up. And they have allotted us 500 that day. It usually comes with a burger, chips, and a drink. If you guys have never been before, and if the park board members would like to pencil that in to your calendar, go ahead and pen it in. That way you can show up and help us manage it. Do we have the rental equipment and everything taken care of?
Don't have access for that item. Everything's already.
Awesome. All right, number 7F, National Night Out is scheduled for October the 5th. That is a national night out, obviously what it's called, and it is sponsored by the city, not necessarily the Parks Board, but we usually do have a table set up there, and so also write that in your calendar. It's the first Tuesday of the month. It's a lot of fun. That's the night that we opted to have the fireworks. And do we have that approved? Awesome. So we will have our fireworks that evening. And then Hazlet.
We were able to change that to
There should be a flyer in here. Yes, I missed the National Night Out sponsorship. So if anyone knows anyone that wants to sponsor a booth, let them know that they can sponsor a booth on this agenda item 7F. Awesome. So if you want to sponsor a booth, you do that. Otherwise, manage the park board booth. So
and the exhibitor booths are off at night.
awesome.
Katrina, will you need any help with parking or anything else from the park board? Will you need any help with anything else on National Night Out, parking or anything?
Oh, at all.
Will we have food truck?
Don't have that.
But we're trying to secure that. Okay. And it'll be for free like the month before.
National Night Out by design has hot. So whatever we have,
We do not have In-N-Out that day. Is that right? Okay.
in the future, yeah, you have to book like pizza out.
All right, so we were able to move the Hazlet Hustle to October 16th to coincide with the hayride from the fire department. So there is a packet flyer in here. that if you would like to sign up to be a runner or a walker in the Hazlet Hustle, you can do that. But we also need help for that event as well. So there's usually a packet pickup time the night before, I think is what Barbara did last year. And she came down here to the community center for people to come and get their bib numbers. And then I showed up pretty early the day of the event and it was dark outside and it was cold. It was very cold, but we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. So
The other thing we did that was kind of cool, we wrote a message that had been donated.
do we need to reach out to the anyone for that, for donating bananas or water? Because we can't do the water like we've done before. We actually have to have
Right.
individual bottles, right?
What we do need to do, David, do we need to go ahead and decide about closing the street? That an action item, council?
And when you say close the street, we need to motion to request a close off
I'm on
of,
Dave. Make a motion to make recommendation to council to close that, for permission to close the road on the date. Only until what time? I think we said noon.
We're starting it just a little bit later though, right?
Correct. Start at 9, 5 days.
All right, this is Barbara Long. I move that we present to council a request to close Schoolhouse Road on October 16th, 2021 for the Hazlet Hustle at the appropriate morning time through at least noon.
This is Cindy. I second that.
all right, so we're motion to move to request council to close Schoolhouse Road from Lewis Lane to Odessa Drive. Barbara motion, Cindy seconded, Brian,
I approve.
Erica,
I approve.
Chris,
Approve.
and Matt.
Approve.
And I, Sarah, also agree. So we will motion to request that of council for our Hazlet Hustle event.
This is Barbara. I just have a question. Do we need to do anything to reserve this room for the distribution of the materials the night before?
Also, front guy, he will back. They have a mark.
So will some of us still need to be here?
That was great.
I'll put that on my calendar.
Did he happen to say, Katrina, last year people showed up wanting to join and we had no way to register them. Did he say if he has on-site registration available?
That one, but I have to put it on the phone. A lot of stuff. Sounds fine. Also on shirt color, I tried to find spring white. So it's like the color of the shirt and then one all on logo.
The logo drawstring bags to put the packets in?
Yeah.
So you're saying we have to motion to pay for those?
That purchase is $100.
You're saying if we want to do that again? Okay,
All right, and if we do red or blue, I think stick with white, unless we do like or gray.
I mean, I personally like the white ones. I don't know if anyone wants to change up the colors or just leave them white with that red and blue. I think it looks good to be white. You guys over there have any input on that? It's literally this logo with the feet running with the flame coming off, and it'll say Hazlet Hustle on it. And then 5K run, 5K fun run and walk. And it'll, do we put the year on it? I think we put the year on it. It's just this foot part, not with the Hazlet, not with the date.
But the back has date.
Oh, yes, the sponsors can put their names on the back. So that's just like the front little.
And it's those colors. It'll be those colors too. So it'd
Yes.
probably be best to have white then, right? I mean, just for the, yeah.
All right, I move that we order white T-shirts for the Hazlet Hustle with the logo on the front and the date and the vendors on the back.
Do we need to choose the number of shirts that we want?
About
I'll amend my motion to say up to 100, and then depending on, I don't know, how soon do you have to order them before the race? Okay, so then we can just leave it as up to 100 and then make that final decision on the number once we begin to receive registrations.
This is Cindy. I'll second that.
Right, Brian?
I agree.
I, Sarah, agree. Erica?
I agree.
Chris?
I agree.
And Matt?
Agree.
All right, motion approved.
Katrina, do we have a color on the packs?
on the bag, they were royal blue last. I can run.
I did.
Can I ask a budget question on the Hazlet Hustle, just out of curiosity? Is there nothing budgeted on revenue or expenses? Is that? And I guess I'm just wondering,
That should be correct. So I believe, and someone else can correct me here if I'm wrong, because we charge to run the race, we just kind of use that money to pay for it. It's not a profit event for us. Really nothing in the park sport is a profit event for us. But we also get sponsors who typically, like when we did it in 2019, the feed store donated fruit. And so they donated a bunch of bananas, someone else donates water. And then we get the vendor, not the vendor, the fees from the people running that basically pay for their t-shirt and, you know, their chip, their timing chip. And so it's not really, yes, I think that's correct.
So is there a breakdown though that shows like what we pay for the shirts, what we pay for everything that we just out of curiosity for the run at all? Is there a breakdown of that?
Katrina usually has that. No, right now the budget amount says 0. Oh, well then I lied. It's 5,000.
I was gonna say, Oops.
But the 5,000 equals out. By the time we spend it, that's less than we get back less.
I get that. Yeah, I would have still expected to see a revenue and expense equaling out, but
So I think we need to maybe amend that financial statement. It says 0. We go back.
The finance department,
Okay.
we were talking relatively small dollar amounts, so it's not that concerning. But if you're not budgeting for something, you're spending, then yeah.
or
This is Cindy. I'd like to make a motion that we order the bags. I do. In the same color we had last year.
well,
Garrett will
Okay.
second.
All right. So Cindy motion, Garrick second. Barbara?
I agree.
I agree.
I, Sarah, agree. Erica?
I, Erica, agree.
Sorry, Chris. Matt?
Yeah, I agree.
Motion carried. All right, anything else for the hustle we need to get done? Do we need to see about asking the feed store or anything?
well, everyone has a response form by
We'll just wait. All right, so now we have Christmas in the Park. It is scheduled for December the 4th, which is a Saturday this year. And make sure you write that in your calendar so you can be there to help us work it. And what else do we need to get done for that? I think go ahead, Cindy.
I just want to make a point. When Chris and I went to do the flags for the memorial, you can barely get into that building because of all the Christmas decorations. And I love the Christmas decorations, but we need to back off until we've got a better way or another place to keep what we've got.
Fair. I also have been in the building when it's half empty and there's still not a lot of room.
Well, the flags are now in my garage because I can't put them back in that corner by myself. So they'll get returned eventually. I don't think we received the last 2 we ordered, right? Katrina, we're pretty much on track for Christmas in the Park, aren't we?
All right, well then we'll just move on right along. Yoga, how's yoga going? Cindy, do you have an update for that yoga?
I
Tai
do,
Chi.
and I would like to thank the park board for financing this because we've already had 2 classes this week and all of our instructors came back. We're still trying to get the people aware that they can come back also, but it was wonderful to be able to start it again.
How was attendance?
It's very, very low right now because part of the problem in Haslett is just getting the word out. But believe me, I've told as many people as used to attend the classes, and hopefully they'll start trickling in too.
So advertising, city website, Facebook page, and just word of mouth. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we should re-update it on the Facebook page, like pop it to the top.
I had a question from to fund.
That- that's our-
Yes, we're on K. I think we're done with yoga and Tai Chi, right? Yeah, yoga, Tai Chi going well.
Sorry, I actually had the same question on Tai Chi. That started again as well? And
I don't think Tai Chi ever ended because it was all outdoors.
Tai Chi has been going on as long as the weather permitted us to do it outdoors. But it is nice to know that when the weather's bad, we can come in here now.
Do you know, Cindy, if there's an age required for that? Is it any age?
Well, you do have to be able to walk.
Well, I have 4 different kids. Well, not him, obviously, but then my husband. But I'm also just quickly back on the yoga. I think maybe I can think about a strategy such as like for every person that attends, for giving like a meal plan for the month of, June, like a nutritional kind of meal plan. I think adding something extra like for those that come always kind of gives that, oh my gosh, like this is what this group is doing in yoga and they're all following this meal plan. That's why they're so like healthy and fit or whatever. So I'll try to bring something from the gym that I go to. Hopefully that helps.
Well, and I thought too, just to get it started again, of course, we've just now got the instructors back but maybe the first full week of July, we could even say, I mean, it's $5 a class. We could just say free for this week. Come and see what it's all about. So we can discuss that too.
so I like the idea of it being free. I would just wonder, is there can we make like an advertisement push or something like that? Because I mean, which you don't, sorry for waking the baby. So I like the idea of free, getting folks kind of roped in, but can we make a different kind of push or a bigger push than we are now, just saying, hey, we're here? Because if the last thing you want to do is make it free and have the regular attendance, right? That's not the point of it.
So a little bit of our challenge. How many people in the district out?
I think like I've seen 25 comfortably. You know, you have to put your mat out and you have to have space for your arms. And you're talking about, 6 or 8 people across and 3 or 4 rows. So we would probably have to put that in the flyer too. Limit 25, unless we did it outdoors.
Is Tai Chi outdoors?
Tai Chi is outdoors unless the weather doesn't permit it. Yeah. And we do it on the basketball court. So we could do 100 people out there.
Well, that would obviously be a lot more eye-catching. Like if I'm driving around, I'm like, oh, and then I'll probably go in the park and let my kids play, and I would go to the teacher, and be like, hey, do you guys do this every week? I think that helps. Maybe if you guys are able to do some outdoors and some indoors, change it up. I think that, because
Well,
it's all about relaxing.
I have asked one of the instructors, because we're going to miss a few meetings or yoga classes, because this is the only room in Halffoot to have a meeting right now. So on those days when we know for sure we can't have the yoga here, if the weather permits, if it's not too hot extremely, because it's 6 o'clock in the evening, we could do it outside, and she's agreeable to that.
And you are?
well, this is kind of like throwing it out there, but that's how the races that are very unique, like the foam races or the paint races or all this stuff that people sign up to. What if we did like a yoga where there's like a really cool like sprinkler like mist where you can bring and you're getting wet while you're doing yoga? I mean, I would do it if it's hot and I'm feeling, like the ones from the zoo, like that sprinkler that feels nice. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh yeah, it's my turn now. Doing that stretch and the sprinklers are coming on you. We could do something kind of unique. It's like, refresh yourself as I don't know, a logo.
Maybe we could have you reach out, Cindy, to the instructors and see if they have any ideas as well.
So I guess a couple things then. So the reaching out to the instructors, right? Seeing if there's anything to add a little excitement to yoga, right? And that second thing is there anything we can do from a city side to, if we're going to give a free month, week, whatever, is there something we can do from the city side to advertise it better, get the word out more than Facebook, word of mouth type of stuff, right? So if we advertise free, we want the maximum effect for that month, not just the regulars getting a free month.
It could go out in the water bills.
So I was going to say Hazlitt's real small and the water bill's all we got. We used to have a newspaper, I think a long time ago before I ever lived here.
We have to have a lot of lead time to do that, right?
July 10th for August.
Right, well, for the water, about roughly around July.
But
we-
There's
sorry,
still the two-
so I don't think that's a bad thing because you're still trying to get word of mouth out. So if we plan on sending the water bill out in July for August free month, if it all of a sudden picks up and you get great attendance in the next month, then you say, well, we'll just cancel the idea because we've got what we want. So I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
Could we maybe just start with Tai Chi and make it, because that's a Saturday morning when most people are going to be available? I don't know what you guys think about that. Just because yoga is several days. And I feel like Tai Chi is just Saturdays and it's going to be outside. Like Erica was saying, people are going to drive by and see it.
I'm gonna suggest because where that
Is there something that they put outside whenever they're doing this stuff like Tai Chi? Because I'll tell you from experience, I mean, even when we were doing the flags the other day, those people out there running, they had that flag that it's their whatever company that does those little workouts. I know they're costing about $100, a week, month, or whatever, those little companies that put that stuff on. So if I'm walking through there, I might think, oh, that's part of them. It's not part of a Hazlitt community thing. So maybe if people know, by having some kind of flag or something that lets them know, hey, this is a Hazlitt community item. Maybe we can get more people to ask questions whenever they're walking past. Just to thought.
I just
Well-
wondered, could we order a sign like we do for our other events and put up on the fence? I mean, even if we ordered one and put it out advertising, Hazlitt Yoga lists the days and times and the Tai Chi with its date and time and start, and then find more information and, list the website.
I think it just goes back to branding. And I think I'm going to be honest. I mean, the Facebook and the Instagram, we have to really work on that because that's what everybody really is just connected to. And so if we can focus on branding and social media and connecting the events and people being able to check in when they're doing something, that's going to just it's kind of spread it like fire, like quicker than anything. So something with the Hazlitt, and that could be like you know, the yoga pose, and then people know like, oh, you know, so it's like the iconic part of Haslett, the logo or whatever it is that we use, we just put the yoga or the Tai Chi or all the other stuff that we're doing. So I think that would help. I think Roanoke has been working on their Facebook and Instagram. I've been kind of checking them out, comparing those people next, like close to us. So it's interesting to kind of study them and see what they're doing because, you know, they're so close to us and it's interesting. So
You could buy a banner at advertise before a program that that advertise.
So my suggestion would be we try to drum up advertisement before we offer something free. Because I think if you just offer it free, you might get folks showing up for a month and leaving after it's, you know, you got to pay again. So I think we ought to advertise first.
Well, and the dates and times don't change. And so if we ordered a banner, it could be put out periodically. You say there's a 30-day limit. So we could put it out for 30 days, take it down.
well, what if you say bring a friend and then you're like your entry's free? Something like that. Maybe the friend might not be happy, but yeah, just in the future notice. But also you can take pictures if you have like a banner in the future. You put the scan code. People can like if you're walking through and you have it like outside the feed store, outside Froth, or wherever it is that you have. If you just say like Haslett Yoga, just something simple, and then it has a scan code, then I just take a picture of it and it'll just pull me up to the Instagram or the Facebook, and then I'll give them more details. So that could be an idea.
Yoga and the instructor could be be there and talking to people and, you know, at the table.
When we had National Night Out in 2019, I believe, we had the flyers at our table, but it was just if people came to talk to me and I was like, oh, are you guys interested in Tai Chi or yoga? Or, you know, if they had kids, I'd say, make sure you come and check out our, you know, Christmas in the Park. And we just kind of had the flyers there for people to walk up and, you know, I wasn't forcing them to take it, but if they were interested, they could take the flyer. But like Erica was saying, I think maybe adding like somehow getting a QR code onto it so they can just scan it, because now people aren't as old school as I am. They don't carry around their binders anymore. You know, it's all on your phone. So maybe we can just add that to our flyers. But I think that'd be great. Do you think they would come, the yoga and Tai Chi? Because they can get a free table at the National Night Out. Maybe they'd come and advertise themselves. Maybe they could do a free yoga class at National Night Out.
Even if it was just a very short one, a little short demo,
Yes. Do we have
10 minutes.
We could have the DJ give them the microphone for 10 minutes or 5 minutes and say, everyone get on the basketball court and we're going to do 5 minutes of yoga. Hey, come and join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And the
I will
same for
talk-
Tai Chi.
I will talk to the instructors.
Yes.
It's a ways out, so
Kids would
We've
do
got
it, I
plenty of
guarantee
time.
you, in a heartbeat. As soon as if there's a bunch of kids out there and they see people doing stuff like that, it'll get everybody's attention. If you get some kids on there doing it.
And then we can schedule the free class to be the week after the National Night Out or that Saturday after the National Night Out. And then we can say, oh, everyone come out to the not National Night Out, but everyone who's here, just mention you were at National Night Out, you get a free Tai Chi class this Saturday.
What do we do if we get more than 25
Tai Chi is outside.
at yoga?
Put it outside.
Don't do it for yoga.
well, I'd like to make a motion that we purchase a banner. And
I'll
if we can
second
get a QR code on it, perfect.
American, I second that.
So I think you want both, right?
I think we want both. Yeah.
I think I would like to, before you make that motion, think that it might be better to do 2 separate ones in case anything changes in the future and we lose one of the teachers, then we can't use our banner anymore.
Well, either way, if something changes, you're going to lose a banner, whether it's 1 or 2. It'd be cheaper to do 1 now instead of,
Can you do a reversible one so it says yoga on one side and Tai Chi in the back? And then we have repurposed. Temporary, right?
Is that possible, David, to get a banner, 2-sided banner, or just get 2 banners and put them together?
For one.
What are these? What do they cost roughly, a banner that we're,
So I'm going to go ahead and mention my idea again. I think that Tai Chi is very different from yoga. And so I think that putting them together on the same banner takes away from one. And then if we lose one event and we don't have the other, I think it'd be better. I mean, they're banners, they fold up easy. And then if we have 30-day limit, we can put the Tai Chi out for 2 weeks, the yoga out for 2 weeks, the Tai Chi out for 2 weeks, the yoga out for 2 weeks. And then they're constantly advertised. Correct.
All right, then I would like to amend my motion and get 2 banners, 1 for Tai Chi and 1 for yoga, and spend up to $200. I'll make that $250.
it's Barbara, I'll second it.
Garrick, Brian,
Agree.
Erica,
Agree.
Matt,
agree?
and I, Sarah, agree. So we motion to get banners.
I have a quick question. Do I ask later?
So we the motion was approved to spend up to $250 for the 2 banners for Tai Chi and yoga with a QR code if possible.
I love the banners, so let's keep the banners, but I also have a question that I noticed in regards to the library, what's it called? Not the advertise, but when you put all the announcements.
Mark.
Yeah. Is there any discussion on updating that to like a digital so that you guys can just type and it can kind of keep stuff up to date or no?
That would be a library.
Okay,
They have
so
their
we
own
don't discuss this is not related to library stuff.
They have their own.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, any other projects or ideas anyone has?
I don't know if it fits into at the end of this, but I was having some questions about a dog park. Has that been brought up before? It's been I'm on a little group chat that people have been asking about a dog park. I didn't know if that's been brought up or is there any
It's been
thoughts?
on our survey every single time. And it,
We'll have a survey 21 or there will be a new survey at time to make suggestions to that item.
nonetheless, it has been on, it'll be on the next survey. It's been on the last ones, but it wasn't high enough to be considered as a project ongoing.
Okay, I'll pass that along. Thanks.
Yeah, so when they get the survey, it should come in your water bill. You just make sure you click on the link and fill it out online or send it back in by paper.
Right.
And then you kind of
Okay.
rank. I think I filled out 1 or maybe 2. Anyways, you rank what you would rather see in Hazlet. Like, would you rather see a water park? Would you rather see a dog park? Would you rather have a tennis court? And then we get that survey and kind of pick from it and decide what else we want to push for with council.
Okay, thank you.
Katrina, is this where I can ask about other things? Would it be possible for us to go ahead and move the volleyball court? Is that something our staff could do?
Or
Move. When I sat in on the meeting with the H, whatever letters it is, A, there was a lot of discussion and concern about that disappearing. And we talked about why that was being moved because of the damage the sand does when it's dumped into the sinks and the water fountains and all of those things. But we had talked about possibly moving it up on the other side of the sidewalks,
On the other side of the creek,
on the,
so,
peninsula right out there.
so we stay on the agenda here. Let's discuss that.
Sounds good.
okay.
So let's go to 8D and community park.
Hold on, there was a,
Wait, there's a
somebody-
project idea.
there was some questions earlier about how we choose activities.
Okay.
I
we'll
was
go-
about to bring that back. That was my other question. So how do we activities like yoga and Tai Chi chosen? When I was asked by a community member who is working and creating pickleball leagues and those kinds of things, they wondered, why isn't there funding for that? How did they get on this list? And I said I would ask.
Anybody, well, the way that the got they first that would contact us, ask or speak. Now that some speak and they would tell us that we had that. But kind of the same way we got the star on
Thank you.
I did want to share a quick update, Katrina, on the gardening stuff, community garden. I had somebody, a master gardener, who works with A&M. So this is for projects and ideas. We're still there, right? So I was just wondering, I'm in the process of getting the certification to be able to teach in regards of learning, growing, eating, and it's for grade levels for, second grade to fifth grade. If this is an event that we can provide for free as well, is it the same process that you're asking about? Do you have to come to a board meeting and I have to be in the audience? Like, how does it work, me being a volunteer?
we could ask for an item on that. You can keep
Okay, perfect.
So Parks Board is a recommending body. And so if there's any projects or ideas that come up where you're like, oh, I really want to get a dog park, then you just bring it up at our meeting here, or you have your friends come and sit in the audience and get an agenda item. We then discuss it as a Parks Board, and then we make a recommendation to council because council gets to decide.
Perfect. Thanks.
So once you get your gardening class, then you say, hey, this is something I would like. And then as a Parks Board, we talk about it and we say, yeah, oh, that's a great community event. Kind of like the Tai Chi and yoga got on. We were like, oh, that'd be great to get people out and active and exercising. And then it got voted in. Anyways.
One other thing, and I don't know when we need to do this, Katrina, but we need to get shirts for our new members.
All right, any other projects or ideas? All right, anything at Nance Field that we need to know about?
How often are those normally mowed? Just every week?
All right, Firehouse Field, did you happen to find out about the lock gate accessibility thing? Was that you that was going to find that out? Someone had asked last meeting about getting access and someone being mobily limited and couldn't get in. So who do we reach out to then? Do you know who that is? I guess I'm a little bit confused. I thought we discussed, maybe someone else could correct me. I thought we discussed at the last meeting that because it's a partnership with the council, the city council lets them have that area that the city council or the city staff had to reach out to them. Is that not true? So how do we get them to stop blocking the gate so that the residents of Hazlet can utilize the park?
Can I request that contract? Can we request that? And okay. I don't know what the process is. Okay. Okay.
I can't imagine where it says they can lock that gate to keep residents out. We make a request to city council that they're notified of that gate being locked. Just so that they're aware. I don't know how we let them know that. I mean, if we're a recommending body, then I would like to motion to recommend to the city council to ask the HSA not to lock that gate or to allow it to be unlocked for accessibility.
Not locked.
Firehouse. That's the only one I know of that's locked.
Or create a path for pedestrians, because they don't have any pedestrian paths. They just have a locked gate for driving. So if they just made a pedestrian path, then people could still come in and prevent the cars from going in. But if it's really not our, I guess I get confused on this whole thing, because if it's not ours, then why is it on our list? Simple question.
So I have a motion on the table if anyone wants to second it. To
This is
request
Barbara.
that
I'll
council-
second it.
Perfect.
Not
Correct. Garrick. You disagree?
I disagree.
Barbara?
I agree.
Cindy?
I agree with making council aware of the problem. No, I disagree.
Brian,
I disagree.
Erica,
Is it a safety concern? So I agree.
and Matt.
Well, can I speak before the vote finish? And I think it should be locked. Don't get me wrong. I think, but there should still should be a compliancy for people to be able to walk through. Open up a gate. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want the road can stay closed. I just need somebody that's in a wheelchair to be able to go and watch a game, or go into the practice fields and play with their kids, or that's what
Or
I'm
a
getting.
stroller.
Yeah, a stroller. There. Well, I can make it easy. I can go over there and cut a thing in the fence line right there and make it perfectly fine. But I mean, that's what I'm getting at. It's
David, I'd like to make another motion, but I know I can't until this one's, that's right. That's what I was going to say, until this one's finished.
I'm going to abstain. I just haven't been around that enough. So. Abstain.
I agree. So we do have a tie. So it goes nowhere. I don't know what to do about that. Does our alternate break a tie? Okay, well, our motion went nowhere. Perhaps there's another motion that might go somewhere.
Okay,
Let's try a new
this is
motion.
Barbara Long. I'd like to propose that we ask City Council if they would work with HSA to create thank you, pedestrian entrance at the field so that citizens can have access even when the gate is locked.
I second that motion.
Eric,
Agree.
Brian,
Agree.
I agree. Erica?
I agree.
I'll agree with it.
All right, that motion passed. So we would like to, as a board, request that pedestrian access is given in coordination with the HSA for pedestrians to Firehouse Field.
It shouldn't be that difficult to put another gate in there or expensive.
All right, anything else about Firehouse Field?
Have a motion,
For what? To put in the gate?
Yeah.
Unanimous. No, I did. I even repeated the whole thing. Oh, it was approved unanimously. And unanimously, we would like them to put in pedestrian access. All right, anything at Gamble?
Which I have a comment on that too. I was a little bit concerned on the trash can, how it's filling up because there's so many people there now. Do we need to reevaluate who comes and helps out with emptying those? Because
Do we need more trash cans maybe? Is that a park board availability to make a recommendation to city council to hire a weekend park staff to help with the excessive trash? I don't know. Is that a thing we can do?
That'd be fine.
What about a recommendation for another trash can?
I was gonna say, can we also recommend that we have more trash cans put over there?
or a bigger one.
I mean, I think it's meaningful if as a, so, does park board have funds for that? Does that, can that come, do we have a park fund?
By the park.
So I was Saturday with my kids, and it was when there was an event when there was like this foam truck. I don't know if you heard of it. It was
I saw the
people-
results of it.
yeah. People need to ask permission when they do stuff like that, like an event like that normally? Okay, well, I was here when the foam truck was happening, and it looked like a lot of fun and everything, but all that kind of piled up on the trash, and I wish I had a bag because I wanted to start picking stuff up. But I wish maybe if there's like things like that being done, that one of the things is did they have to take the trash to like the nearest dumpster so they don't? Okay,
So we
great.
requested a few months ago for a new permit, but every permit was put on hold through the end of May, I believe. So we were not issuing, the city was not issuing permits. So if they actually had a permit issued, then yes, they would have had to have taken their trash with them and they would have had to have left a deposit.
Correct.
Yes, they can't even just leave it in a bag. Like you actually have to take your trash because we don't have the space for it when we voted on that because we sensed this problem was coming. But I think that it would be great for us to recommend additionally to council if we're seeing that there's a problem with our trash cans and not having enough benches, even if we just ask for that at Gamble Park, because you're right. I mean, people come with their kids. And that day that I was there and they had their bikes inside the gate, I was like, there's not even that much room. Like, why do you need your bike in there? I don't know if it was a mobility issue. I know I said this again, but anyways, I think it would be nice to have some benches and trash cans and staff on the weekend.
Right.
Do we have to motion that recommendation?
This is Cindy. I'd like to make a recommendation to council that they consider adding 3 new benches in addition to 3 new trash cans because there's so many kids that are enjoying that wonderful park that we put in that it's just a little bit overwhelmed.
I agree. Second. Okay.
All right, Cindy motioned, Garrick seconds, Barbara,
I agree.
Brian,
I agree.
Sarah agrees, Erica,
I agree.
and Matt.
Agree.
Unanimously approved to make the recommendation to council. David, is it feasible to have one person working the weekend by themselves? just as extra, or is that not even really possible? Like if we requested the consideration of a weekend or
So just a question, rather than hiring someone, I don't know city policy on this stuff. It seems like with a community our size, which is not that large, do you really want to hire someone, or is there a service that's maybe cheaper and
What about community service? Are you linked with people that have to do community service?
are there any services that just come through parks and collect trash? Is that our biggest need, or are there other needs that the park would benefit from a weekend person?
Well, the concept of like when you adopt, right? It's usually, I was told that if you adopt a highway, it's like you have certain times of the year, I think, that you are to help keep the road clean.
Yeah, but it's just quarterly.
So I was just thinking for companies that would want to help, that are Haslet like me, that we would want to volunteer our crew maybe a certain month or something. I don't
Well,
know.
we have had several churches that come through, but it may be one time a year, and they've done a fabulous job when they're there, but it happens
Upkeep.
every weekend. I carry trash bags with me. Every time I play pickleball, I'm picking up trash around the pickleball court. And it
Another,
may or may not be a lot, but it gets it out of the way of the mowers anyway.
another thing we can do when we see things that are going on that shouldn't be, and I'll just give you an example. One day I was up playing pickleball and I saw a truck that backed up, jumped the curb out of the parking area so he could be right under the basketball court with his truck on the, not on the concrete, but outside on the grass. And so he could turn his speakers up really loud. And so I just went over and introduced myself and said, I'm a member of the Haslet Park Board, because I wanted him to have my name. If he wanted to go and complain about me, he could. And just told him that it was not, appropriate for him to park his truck, his vehicle on the grass. And I said, if you wouldn't mind, please moving it back into the parking lot. And he, and I said it politely and explained why. And he did that. So I think when we see and there have been a couple other things, and I think as long as we approach them, introduce, say we're on the Parks Board, ask them, like when you saw the trash, would you mind taking your trash with you so that families that are out here can add to this trash can? There's not anything wrong with us taking on that responsibility to help the city. And that could be our
Or the
little
park watchers.
contribution.
And if they had a company that was out there doing the foaming, certainly they should have cleaned up after themselves. I don't think they needed to mop the place, but
Well, there's places that have doggy bags. Sorry, I'm not going to carry out this longer, but can we just can we request to have just like those bags so that, you have them? Well, I've missed. Okay, thanks.
All right, so Camel Community Park, anything about community?
I would like to ask David to see if you can put on the schedule to have the pickleball courts on the basketball court repainted. And could we do them in the fluorescent orange? The red has really faded quickly. Thank you.
And then I was going to say, I think, Barbara, about moving the volleyball court.
Yes, but before we do, could we have an update on the tennis courts that we're helping to fund? I know the update, but somebody from the city can give us the official one. You want me just to share what I know? Okay. I did receive an email and attended the two, give me the letters of those committees, HEDC? Okay. Well, I'm going to call them A and B because they have that. The the B committee met first. A committee met first. A met first. They put it on hold. They didn't act. Then in that month, B voted and they approved their half of the funding. It was so exciting. And they were very supportive. They also asked if it's like they knew what was going to happen. They said if A doesn't fund their half, can we come back and approve the other half of the funding? And so the city worked on that to make sure they could do that. And then the next month, A met again. They were very not supportive of tennis courts and concerned about the volleyball court disappearing, one person in particular on the committee. And then, so they said they didn't fund the trail lighting nor the tennis court funding. And that's because they didn't feel like it fits with economic development. And even though legally they could, they chose not to. And that was very clear that that board did not want to get into supporting the parks. And so then B met a few days later and they did approve the other half. So we have full funding with our part of the funding, and the B committee is providing the balance of that. So at this point, it could be put out for bid, but we'll have to wait and see if we have an engineer or someone that will actually submit the request for bids out to the public. So that was very exciting because this is something that I've been trying to work toward since I moved to this area in 2000 or shortly thereafter. I began working on it shortly thereafter. So things move slowly, but that is. So then my other question with that is the volleyball court. Is it possible that city staff could move what is it, those big beams that are around the edge? Could that be moved up across the little? Okay. Okay, so is there any way that could be moved though in some way? I mean, that sand's going to just have to be hauled off. Could it be moved up there and a new volleyball court put in that's away from all the water sources? Because of the from that part from the A committee, to have that done, and so I feel like we need to make a request to have that as a future agenda item to begin to look at how we can get a sand volleyball relocated in another area of the park.
So I wanted to just add, Barbara, I think this was the meeting that you joined late one day, because I had asked the same thing, because I know a lot of people, I have pictures, I go through the park now and I take pictures of like the roads and the people in the park. And I asked a group, I said, hey, can I take your picture? Just for reference, I didn't really share with anyone, but they were playing out there. There were teenagers using the volleyball court without a volleyball net. And I feel like they would have loved to have utilized that. They were kids staying out of trouble, and I thought it was great. And I remember, when I lived in Abilene, that they had the volleyball courts out at Sonic, and that was always a popular thing for college students. I saw a group in the park the other day sitting in like a circle. I don't know if they were having like a seance or I don't know what they were doing, but they were in a little circle but they were kids staying out of trouble, hanging out in the park. And I feel like if there's a volleyball pit somewhere, even if it's, and David had brought up the idea of moving it across to the other side so it's away from the water. And so I had already asked kind of around that idea. So I agree with that. I think it'd be great to just move it somewhere else if it's possible.
Well, and what I wonder is, does it even have to have sand? Can it just have poles and a net in that area? And then if we need to add sand later, we could, but as long as a net was there, people will come and play. And
Is it color to do it? Must with what you're talking about. It's not just a, yeah.
Some kind
Is that an expensive thing to install?
so did I say it well to get it as a future agenda item, or do we have to vote, or how do we do that?
of that. Don't have back.
All right. And Chris, could we ask you to get us any research that you have since you volunteered yourself for a player of what we would need and what, I don't know what else they would want to know, but maybe talk to your kid and
Oh,
see
of
if that
course,
sounds
yeah.
great.
Okay, and
I can
if I
handle
could
that.
just give one more little update for Community Park. I kind of mentioned it earlier in another context, but the pickleball group has grown to over 100, and I think it's about 108 members on the Facebook page now. And they have started a league, and because they're playing in the evening when it's so hot, they are right now playing in the Baptist church that's there on 156. Heritage Baptist Church, and they have 32 people playing in the league every Monday and Friday night. So that sport has really taken off here in the Hazlet area.
If you wanted to, I'm very interested in it. How would you get involved, or
Talk to me after.
They have a Facebook.
They also have a Facebook page, by the way. And then we can move to the Veterans Memorial Garden if there's nothing else. David, are there rocks there in the Memorial Garden? Like, it looks really nice. Is that a stone that's out there?
Yeah, when the Boy Scouts went over and redid it, they zero-scaped it.
Yeah, no, I remember, but for whatever
Yeah.
reason, I thought they were mulching it. And when I got out there and saw it was rocks, I was like, oh, this is really pretty.
And I would like to make one comment. I was at Tai Chi the Memorial weekend, and it was so neat to see all the flags out in the park. And there were several families that went to the memorial and walked around it. You could see they were explaining things to their children, and it was just an awesome thing. I appreciate the park supporting this. Thank
Yeah,
you.
my family actually got to do that, so that was fun. I was like, let's go look at our Gold Star Memorial.
Well, and I found that one of my neighbors takes her grandchildren when they come to visit, and they're the ones that have been putting those smaller flags next to each one of those. And she does it periodically, and she's kept it throughout the last several years.
All right, anything else about the Veterans Memorial Garden or any other future agenda item? All right,
So,
then.
well, real quick, you said that we don't have any flags out for Veterans Day. Is that correct, or?
we put flags out, but we don't have an event.
Okay,
Yes.
that's right. Okay.
So I'll be calling you again.
I'll be ready.
All right, so our only future agenda items are shirts for new members and then consideration of the volleyball court. Was there anything else anyone wanted to add for a future agenda item? All right, we will adjourn at 8:28.